Okay, we got great guests today, and the first guy I'm going to bring on is Brent Beecham. He's a classmate of mine from the U.S. Air Force Academy, F-15 pilot in the first Gulf War, and flew for the Israeli Air Force. So the perfect guy to talk to. No worries. My question was, if you'd have told me in 1986 that we'd be talking about 4 F-15 shot down by friendly fire over Iran, what would you have said?
It would have seemed impossible, but I will tell you, in the Gulf War, it was my number one concern the first few days. What some private in a van somewhere was going to shoot me down with a Patriot coming back from Iraq. So
Well, how does that happen? I mean, is it just like they didn't recognize the transponder or the friend or foe mechanism? How does that work?
So there's probably a couple of ways that could happen. One would be if they had jammers that jammed their own IFF. That's a friend of mine nearly shot down an EF-111 in the first Gulf War because they were jamming and they jammed their own IFF signal.
Which and actually, is the friend or foe, just for our audience.
Identify friend or foe. So they had, and there's a secure system called Mode 4. Mode 4 at that time was being jammed by its own jamming system. So they almost shot this guy in my squadron nearly shot down an EF-111. He said, "I just had a bad feeling, decided not to fire."
Wow.
Yeah. So that was one possibility, is that maybe they're jammers. The other part is, I don't know if you remember, not just like a few months ago, the Navy shot down an F-18 and nearly shot down a second one by mistake. And, I think in that high threat environment, you got missiles inbound, the fog of war. That's probably one of the biggest threats you have is friendly fire.
And people understand this is a highly complex environment. You've got multiple radar systems. You've got people trying to figure out who's who. You've got people shooting at you. You're worried about a missile hitting you, even if you're on the ground in a command post or whatever.
Right.
And so it's easy to make mistakes. I remember I was in Alaska 30 years ago, and some maintenance guy loaded a live missile on one of the F-15s and to ferry out to one of the coastal bases. The maintenance guy saw it and said, "Oh, that's a live missile." Didn't say anything. The pilot did a walk around and saw it and didn't say anything. And he gets in and he launches a missile on his squadron commander and blows the right tailpipe out. And the guy got the jet back. But this kind of stuff happens, right?
Yeah. And by the way, that was a classmate of ours, Mike Lynch.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he and I went to F-15 training together. And that was, and he had jumped, it was right after a big exercise. They had live weapons on some airplanes. He hopped in one airplane, it broke. He hopped in the second airplane, it broke. The third airplane they put him in was one of the ones that they had loaded up live weapons. And it's bad on him, but you're panicked, you're young, you're about to go out with your commander, and it's like, we got to get going.
Well, I call my audience the crew in the chat, and I said called clear it high because we were on a firing range up in Alaska. Stuff happens, I guess, and and my gunner, the young guy, didn't secure the machine gun very well. He starts firing, it falls out of the helicopter at 3,000 feet. So this kind of stuff happens, man. But anyway, so how do you think this first phase has gone down?
It looks like to me they're achieving all the objectives that they expected to achieve. The issue is obviously beyond taking out leadership, which they obviously did a fantastic job of. The next round of targets is your ballistic missiles. They can come back and get the nuclear stuff later. It's not important at this point. Ballistic missiles, they had pre-war, they estimate, I think, something like 3,000 ballistic missiles and 500 launchers. And even though they had taken out a bunch of them in the first, the 12-day war that Israel had with Iran, they're well on their way this time to taking them out. But again, it's thousands, not tens.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a bit to wear them down. Of course, Hezbollah now has joined in some limited way. They fired some rockets last night and some drones.
Southern Lebanon into northern Israel. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And so that was a couple of different interesting things there. Is the Lebanese government apparently is given the green light to take Hezbollah out. Don't hit our infrastructure, please. Just blow them up. We don't care. That's one. The second one.
Well, they were threatening to hit Israel was threatening the Beirut airport again.
Right.
So,
yeah. The next thing that was really interesting was the first actual operational use of a laser system against incoming rockets.
Yes.
And that's an amazing thing because, you think about the math problem. If you fire a $30,000 missile or $100,000 missile to take out, a $10,000 rocket, the math just doesn't add up eventually. Plus, you got to manufacture those missiles, and after 12 days of a war against Iran and simultaneously defending against Hezbollah, they probably were close to running out. Laser, it's all day, all night. They can fire it almost limitlessly.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that, show people that laser fire. Here it is real quick.
Yeah.
That's the laser on the Lebanese border. It's fascinating. I mean, we're in a whole new world, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And again, it just comes down Israel, and we hear a lot of people, particularly actually on both sides now, far right, far left, call them what you want to call them, about how Israel is taking advantage, that Bibi's controlling this, all kind. The truth is the Arrow system was designed as a backup to the THAAD in case THAAD didn't work. The technology that's coming out of the first war they had and the intel they got from flying over top of Iran has made this war much more effective for both Israel and the United States. Of course, they took out all their air defense systems the first time around, and
they've had some practice against the Chinese and Russian systems.
Your
government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
This is a special report.
Knowing how to invest your money is harder than ever before. Dealing with stock market volatility, record debt, and terrorist attacks requires new thinking. At U.S. Asset Management, we can help you see the world more clearly so that you can move beyond the chaos and invest with confidence. Call us, visit us online, or drop by our office. U.S. Asset Management, helping you make better decisions with your money.
What people don't also realize is these ballistic missiles are very powerful. A drone just flies straight. A cruise missile flies straight. That limits the warhead. But if you can fire it up on a huge rocket and then target it to come back down, you can put a massive warhead on those things. And that's why the ballistic missiles are so critical, correct?
Yeah, they've had some of the hits in Israel and obviously across the Middle East. The biggest warhead they have, I think, is a 2,000-pound warhead. And if you saw the missile, I mean, it's like 6 feet in diameter. They're massive missiles. And I think, I've not seen a count on how many they fired at Israel. But they fired a whole bunch at the UAE and Kuwait. I mean, and I saw some drones, cruise missiles, all the things they're firing. It's no wonder Kuwait was second on the list of most targeted by the Iranians up till now. And the fact that they fired and shot down F-15s, A, tragic, B, just shows you the survivability of the F-15. Back to your original story about getting hit by an AIM-9 missile by accident, the airplane recovered itself and they flew back and landed. It's a tough airplane. The fact that all the crew members ejected and landed safely, I'm sure they're not happy that they got blown out of the sky by Kuwait, but the fact that they all survived is amazing.
Well, this is the F-15 Strike Eagle, which is 70s technology. Were you flying the E model or were you air to air?
C. Yeah, I was flying C. Yeah.
So this was a strike aircraft, 2-seat, right?
Right.
With a
Yep.
Wizzo in the back, weapon
Yep.
systems operator. Yeah.
Right.
So the pilots, one guy got attacked with a pipe because they thought he was Iranian. It's always a risk because you don't know where you're going to come down, right?
Right. Yeah. When I woke up this morning and I saw F-15s have been shot down, my first thought was they got shot down in Iran. Then I started reading a little bit more in depth, and I go, okay, they got shot down by friendly fire. Okay, where was the friendly fire? Oh, okay, it was over Kuwait, and they landed there. I've got more than a few hours over.
They weren't expecting that, right?
No,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But again, going back to the F-18 they got shot down. I mean, like I think those guys had like their landing gear ready to land, and all of a sudden they're defending against a missile. I mean, the shock of you've just spent whatever period of time over Iran, you've evaded, whatever missile defenses they have. You're like on the way back home, you're ready to get back to land and rearm and maybe go back up again. And the next thing you know, they're shooting at you. And that's not a good feeling.
And what were you saying? You had a lot of time flying over Kuwait. So did I, but not as high as you.
Yeah. Yeah. We spent quite a few hours over top of Kuwait City, especially right after the war. We spent another few weeks flying. Actually, I flew cap over top of the Schwarzkopf ceasefire signing agreement, and so I've got some fond memories and some interesting pictures over top of Kuwait.
Do you have all that disability stuff, man, with the air problems and all that? No,
no, no.
Just curious.
No, not me.
All right, cool. Anything else you think people should know about the conflict right now?
No, I think it's going to be a little bit of a slog. So I think we can't. Obviously there's no timeline on it. I think the biggest timeline possibility of accelerating would be if the Iranian people decide that they've had enough. And I saw something like 90% of the police stations inside of Tehran had been blown up. So I believe that to be a really strategic move on our part to give them the ability to do exactly that, to rise up, to overthrow the government. And then that would end the war effectively, I think, if they did.
Well, we've talked a lot about that, and I'll bring up my book, Paying the Price, The Untold Story of the Iranian Resistance. There's a lot of resistance units on the ground that are doing a lot of stuff. In fact, we have a story on the Miami Independent where they attacked Khomeini's house before the invasion started. That maybe that was coordinated. I don't know. But, they had 250 assault fighters. And to put that kind of force together and actually get in his house in Iran means they're pretty well organized. So anyway, thank you, Brent. We'll have you back. Take care.
All right. Take care.